everybody. Isn't it great to be here this morning? Just shining. Just feels good, doesn't it? Whew. I had trouble sitting down this morning. Felt really good to be here. My topic this morning is your mission, should you choose to accept it. This is deja vu for me. This actually the very first Sunday that I ever did a talk at this center was on Mission Impossible. So this felt really interesting to me to revisit this concept this morning. So those words, your mission, should you choose to accept it, are probably very familiar words to probably everyone here in the room, because they are from the Mission Impossible series that aired on television in the mid-60s to mid-70s, I think. And then again in the late 80s and early 90s. And then, of course, if you missed all of that, then there have been 3 movies based on the same theme, okay? And the format was that these secret government agents were given what were deemed to be impossible missions. Impossible missions. And they were known as the IM, or Impossible Mission Force. And week after week, what they showed us was that what appeared to be impossible in the very beginning, with a little thought and a little bit of effort, turned out to be possible after all. And week after week, we saw them driving off into the sunset in their paneled van, smiling about the successful mission that they had just completed. Now, I thought that would be a very appropriate topic for this morning, okay? Because we too have missions, every single one of them. And we don't just have one, we have many missions in life. And that's what I want to talk about this morning. I want to talk about our life missions as they apply to our teaching. Now, many of us are moving through our life missions, though, as if they are impossible. Okay? And unfortunately, even with all the information that we have, with all the things that we study over and over and over again, we're still approaching the situations in our lives as if they're impossible. Now, I watch, and I still witness not just the people on the street, but many of us cringing at the C word, cancer. Fearful of the L words, lack and limitation. Submit and surrender to the G word, genes. And ignore the true meaning of the P word, placebos. Okay? See? And as a result of all the cringing and all the fear and all the submission and all the ignorance, we as a group often live our lives literally as an IM force, as an impossible mission force, as if the missions in our life truly are impossible. Now, I often think that if we had a better understanding of what problems really are, we'd probably have better outcomes. Dr. Ernest Holmes tells us that problems are merely situations which confront us with the opportunity for a greater self-expression. Now that, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound so bad to me when I look at it that way. That when something shows up in my life, like the C word, like lack and limitation, like any of those things that I just mentioned, what if I were able to look at them as an opportunity for greater self-expression? Now, if we understood that when a problem showed up, we would have a much better attitude toward it. We would probably approach it like Mr. Phelps on Mission Impossible. Yeah? All right. Now, I want to bring this up because this kind of parallels with what I'm talking about this morning. This Thursday evening, I'm going to be starting a class that's entitled, It's Not the End of the World. And in this class, we're going to look at ways of looking at and addressing problems that we have viewed as impossible missions. We're going to start looking at this. It's a class on resilience. It's a class that says it's okay to hit the ground so long as we remember to bounce. That's the part where we tend to forget. We forget to bounce. You ever seen that a basketball that doesn't have enough air in it and you, boom, there it is, okay? That's what many of us do when the problems in our lives show up. See, and our ability to bounce will enable us to see things in the situation that we wouldn't have been able to see if we couldn't bounce. Now, in his book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything, Neil Donald Walsh talks about devastating things that happen to us in our lives. Devastating things that cause major shifts in our lives. And he says, we're not talking about changing one's clothing or the menu for lunch or the evening's TV agenda. He said, we're talking about life-changing events, the kinds that hurt, the kind that do damage, the kind that kill dreams and ruin plans and disrupt futures. And we are talking about healing them with equally life-changing events. We are saying that when everything changes, sometimes the best thing to do is to change everything. But not just everything on the physical level. This would include your emotions, your thoughts, and even and especially your truths. And then Dr. Joan Borasenko, whose book we're actually going to use for the class,